The time is upon us, boys and girls, to once again put on our very snooty French berets, because today we are looking at a French art house film lovingly referred to as Alice, or The Last Escapade, which actually ties into Alice in Wonderland in some very unexpected ways. With boobies. At first glance, this film doesn't even seem like it would qualify as an Alice in Wonderland adaptation because it has almost nothing to do with the story. But that's where you would be wrong, dear viewer, because the main character's name is Alice Carroll, an obvious homage to Lewis Carroll, so ha! Anyway, Alice Carroll is played by the stunningly beautiful Sylvia Crystal. She's a woman who has been mistreated by her asshole-ish husband one time too many.
Je ne peux plus te supporter.
So she decides to pack up all her stuff, get in the car, and drive off to nowhere in particular. Her windshield gets cracked during a storm, forcing her to stay at a mysterious mansion in the countryside. There she meets an equally mysterious old man who allows her to stay the night for free. However, when she wakes up, she finds that she's not only alone, but unable to leave the mansion no matter how hard she tries. Even though her basic necessities are provided for in the mansion, her efforts to escape are mostly in vain.
Et c'est très bien. La plupart de ceux qui se sont trouvés dans le même cas que vous n'avaient pas votre sagesse. Ils se débattaient, pleuraient, hurlaient, suppliaient.
The reasons behind these supernatural occurrences are intentionally vague, though the movie does provide some explanations towards the end that I won't spoil. Unlike the other adaptations that we've looked at, there aren't any characters or incidents that correspond with those of either of the Alice books, but I wanted to talk about this film for a few reasons. First, it's another 70s film with boobies in it. Oh, but this one is an art film, not a porno, so that makes it okay. Second, this film is important because, in a lot of ways, it's the inverse of Alice in Wonderland. What do I mean by that? Well, Alice in Wonderland is ultimately a story about an intelligent young girl trying to navigate a world of adults who don't make any sense and live in a world free from logic. It's about holding onto your sanity in an insane world and becoming empowered as a result. It's also about the often illogical standards of propriety that a young Victorian-era English girl was expected to follow in preparation for what would have been an upper-class domestic life. Alice or The Last Escapade is about an adult woman trying to escape her unhappy domestic life, only to wind up in an even more seemingly charmed domestic life from which she can't escape. Unfortunately, for almost all of human history, women weren't allowed to own property or live lives independently from men. Their only escape was into the world of art, especially fiction. Alice Carroll's only retreat from this mansion is into the world of fiction. She can't escape or even speak up for herself, so she finds herself trapped in her own personal hell.
Vous avez bien compris la situation, n'est-ce pas? Vous ne ferez pas de bêtises.
Moi non plus, je ne réponds pas aux questions.
This film is definitely not for everyone. It's very French, very pretentious, very slow, and has little to do with Alice in Wonderland as we traditionally understand it. But I think it can be good to challenge yourself every once in a while, particularly with art house cinema that you may not be otherwise used to. I personally love artsy French films. One of my favorite films of all time is a French art house film called Belle de Jour. That film had boobies in it too. You know, for the sake of art. So yeah, check this film out. You can see some boobies and feel smart at the same time. And really, isn't that what film appreciation is all about? So as you have no doubt surmised by now, the 70s had a very particular love affair with some very unusual Alice in Wonderland adaptations. We've seen musicals, we've seen pornographic films, we've seen art house films. But tomorrow, we have one of the best films in the entire month's lineup that just so happens to be directed by a very special person, yes. Now stay tuned tomorrow as we dive into Terry Gilliam's Jabberwocky.